This evening, 20 arrested as Guyana sugar workers strike escalates, demanding severance pay before returning to Rose Hall Estate. Fiery motorcycle truck collision claims the life of Berbice resident at number 19 Public Road. 2 suspects charged and granted bail in Lusignan supermarket armed robbery case. In the region, Argentina presidential elections, far-right challenges historical abuses, and internationally, 2 officers arrested in DR Congo for crackdown that killed 43 people. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for September 5th, 2023. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, we tell you that day 20 of the Guyana sugar workers' strike got out of hand, leading to 20 persons being arrested and charged. 16 cane harvesters employed by the Guyana Sugar Corporation and 4 others faced multiple charges after blocking the Kanji Turn Road in Berbice with an electrical post and attempting to ignite obstacles. The protesters demanded severance pay before returning to the Rose Hall Estate, set to reopen this month. The protesters demanded severance pay before returning to the Rose Hall Estate, set to reopen this month. The roadblock caused prolonged traffic disruption, leading to a significant police presence to secure the area and clear the debris. Police using shields and batons faced resistance from the protesters, resulting in the arrest of the 20 individuals. Charges include obstructing traffic, property damage, unlawful assembly, and an act of terrorism. The sugar workers, originally from Rose Hall Sugar Estate, but transferred to Albion and Blairmont Estates after its 2017 closure, seeks compensation for returning to the Rose Hall Estate. Despite the estate's reopening, they refuse to return to work until their demands are addressed by President Irfan Ali and Vice President Barjaglio, neither of whom has met with the strikers since the protests began in August. Continuing on our coverage of Region 6, a motorcyclist died earlier today following an accident with a low-bed truck on the number 19 Public Road, East Kanji Quarantine, Berbice. The man had been identified as Ajay Ramchan of Mack, Quarantine, Berbice. The man's motorcycle caught a fire following the collision. The truck was transporting an escalator at the time of the incident. The incident was captured on a CCTV camera. We will bring you more details in a subsequent report. Also, in a similar news, police are investigating a fatal accident that claimed the life of a 73-year-old man at Harlem Public Road on the west coast of Demerara on Monday, September 4th, 2023. Dead is Abdul Mohammed of Lot 5, Harlem, West Coast, Demerara. The incident involved motorcar PAE 4134, owned and driven by a 26-year-old male. The accident involved motorcar PAE 4134, owned and driven by a 26-year-old male resident of Bell West Canal No. 2, and an electric cycle owned and ridden at the time by Abdul Mohammed, the deceased. Enquiries disclosed that the car was proceeding west along the southern side of the road when the driver alleged that the cyclist rode across the street from north to south. The left front of the car collided with the cycle. The collision caused Mohammed to fall and sustain injuries to his body. He was picked up in an unconscious state and taken to the West Demerara Regional Hospital, where he was seen and examined by a doctor and pronounced dead on arrival. The car driver was arrested and a breath alcohol test was conducted on him. However, no trace of alcohol was detected. The deceased is presently at the Ezekiel Funeral Home awaiting a post-mortem examination as investigations continues. In other news, 2 men have been charged and placed on bail for the armed robbery of a Chinese-owned supermarket in Lusignan when they appeared at the Vigilance Magistrates Court on Monday, September 4th. 26-year-old Jamal Seymour, a carpenter from Albaisong, Georgetown, and 29-year-old Ryan Goodluck, a vendor from Herstellin, East Bank, Demerara, appeared before Magistrate Liverpool, where the charge was read to them. Both suspects pleaded not guilty and were granted bail at $150,000 each. The court heard that 4 armed men arrived at the Hongyang supermarket on 2 XR motorcycles last Tuesday. They held 2 female Chinese national cashiers at gunpoint and robbed them of phone cards and an undisclosed amount of cash. The incident was captured on CCTV cameras. The release of surveillance camera images by the Guyana Police Force has led to the capture of the 2 suspects. One of the men is believed to be the mastermind behind the robbery, while the other is thought to be one of the armed robbers who held up the cashiers. During a search of their residence, police discovered clothing items matching those worn by one of the suspects seen in the surveillance footage during the robbery. The men will return to court for further proceedings on November 6, 2023. Stick around when we return. Businessman charged with narcotics conspiracy remanded. And Temeri prison equips 72 inmates with skills for reintegration into society.
Oh gosh, what is this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. This is what I could do here.
Let's start improving your child grades today. Register for our primary or nursery department. Hidden Treasures, we're located at 204 East Half Charlotte Street between Camp and Alexander. Or contact us at 649-0373.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
All we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinate soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she papa buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. 30-year-old Steve Backus, a businessman of Sophia, Georgetown, has been charged with conspiracy to traffic in narcotics when he appeared at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court on Monday, September 4th. Backus appeared before Senior Magistrate Sunil Scaris, who read the charge to him. He pleaded not guilty and was remanded to prison. The court heard that on August 11, 2023, in Eccles, East Bandamarara, Backus conspired with others to traffic 11,200 grams of cannabis. However, he was arrested by a rank from the Alberton Police Station and charged. The case has been adjourned to October 13, 2023 for disclosure. 72 inmates housed at the Temeri prison recently completed a 3-month training course in various programs to prepare them for the world of work. The inmates were trained in information technology, welding literacy, culinary arts, wellness and success, and electrical installation. Director of Prisons Nicolon Elliott explained that the prison has an obligation and mandate to provide prisoners with skills to facilitate their reintegration into society. The prison's task is to help the inmates realize their mistakes and become better individuals. Elliott added that the various programs are just another phase to assist and strengthen the rehabilitation of inmates. The programs also signify the vital steps the prison service is taking to rehabilitate the inmates fully. Last year, 1,400 inmates were trained in block making, basic agriculture, and culinary arts. Don't go away after the break. 2 officers arrested in DR Congo for crackdown that killed 43 people, and Iraq oil stalemate. Baghdad KRG hit by $5 billion loss due to export halt.
Problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. It's Credit, and today all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and poise cake. For the noodles, all these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radika went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. She shaped like a Guyana map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. In Argentina, far-right president candidate Javier Milei is promising to improve the troubled economy, but he's also questioning human rights abuses committed during the 1970s and 80s, Al Jazeera's Teresa Bow reports.
It was not a war, it was a genocide, said this woman inside the Buenos Aires legislature. It happened during a ceremony organized to honor the victims of left-wing fighting groups in the countries during the 1970s. Organized by Victoria Villarroel, who is running for the vice presidency with far-right candidate Javier Milei, who got 30% of the votes in the primaries in August.
In the 1970s, 17 armed organizations, mostly of the extreme left thousands of victims, attacked Argentinians and foreign civilians, and those wearing uniforms. They've never been honored.
It was a violent period in Argentina. Former strongman Juan Perón was forced out of office in 1955, and his massive political movement was banned from participating in elections. His followers and left-wing rebels started to build up armed movements to fight back. Perón was allowed to return, but the ongoing political violence did not stop. The military took over power in 1976 and began a cleansing campaign that left thousands of fighters, politicians, students and labor union leaders tortured, disappeared and killed.
What happened in the 1970s and 80s continues to be an extremely sensitive issue in this country. For this people, the gathering that took place inside the Buenos Aires legislature is a vindication of state terrorism and a provocation ahead of the presidential elections in October.
Argentina has already put on trial thousands of former members of the security forces involved in human rights abuses. Vilma Ripoll says far-right candidate Javier Milei is reopening all wounds.
Doing an event like the one today is like doing it for Hitler and giving them a golden office. But us activists, we get barricades in response.
Marcelo Larraqui says the discourse by the far right in Argentina is damaging the country's collective memory that promised to never again repeat the abuses of the past.
What these people say now is that once they make it to power, they can forgive the members of the military detained. They don't recognize the dictatorship, and if they do, they see it as some abuses were committed by a captain or police officer, and not as if it was a systematic plan that the justice system proved existed.
Presidential elections are only 1.5 months away, and polls show Javier Milei has a real chance of becoming the country's next president. His followers vowed to rewrite Argentina's modern history. But thousands on the streets say they will fight back. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Internationally, 2 high-ranking military officers in the Northeastern Democratic Republic of the Congo have been arrested for taking part in a crackdown on protests last week that killed 43 people and severely injured 56, authorities says. The government is under pressure to provide justice for the relatives of those who died, Al Jazeera's Stephanie Decker reports.
It's tense on the streets of Goma. Police are maintaining a strong presence, since at least 43 people were killed in protests against the UN mission here, known as MONUSCO, over escalating violence in the region. The protest was organized by a Christian religious sect, and the UN force is accused of doing nothing to provide safety against violence carried out by rebel groups in the area. The security situation is getting worse.
What is happening in our country is very sad, as at the same time we fight for a peaceful country, we realize that our leaders don't share the same vision with us. So many people have lost their lives because of ongoing conflicts. We don't have peace in this country, and we're now living like foreigners.
Human rights groups accuse the military of using excessive force. The government has been meeting relatives of the dead and missing, and loved ones have now been given the right to identify the dead.
As the victims' relatives, we were very clear to the government that those responsible must be held to account. We also insisted on the right to access the bodies of our relatives, as it's 6 days since they were killed. We are yet to access their bodies for a dignified funeral. For now, this is a good move.
Senior military and security personnel have been recalled to the capital.
The military governor of this province, here with me, has been recalled back to Kinshasa for a consultation. 2 police colonels, including one from the intelligence department, have also been recalled to Kinshasa for consultations.
MONUSCO is one of the largest and costliest UN peacekeeping forces, established in 1999 to help protect civilians from violence. The question being asked, is it capable of doing so? Stephanie Decker, Al Jazeera.
And finally, Iraq is one of the most oil-dependent countries in the world, with revenues making up to 95% of its budget. But in its semi-autonomous Kurdistan regional government, supplies have been disrupted since Turkey stopped exporting 450,000 barrels a day from the region through its port of Sian in March. Losses in oil revenues are estimated at around $5 billion. Al Jazeera's Mahmoud Abdul Wahad reports.
Pensioners in Erbil try to find relief from the burdens of life in this popular cafe. But economic decline in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdish region is taking a toll. It has recently lost approximately $5 billion due to oil exports being halted. 85-year-old Omar Farhad says the whole region is being affected.
We haven't received our salaries for 2 months now. Several other sectors in the region have been hurt by a lack of funds. Prices of goods are on the rise though, and some businesses are in recession.
Turkey stopped oil exports from the Kurdish region through its port of Ceyhan in March. That followed a ruling by the International Chamber of Commerce ordering Turkey to pay $1.5 billion for the unauthorized loading of crude oil in Ceyhan. Oil revenues account for about 80% of the Kurdish region's annual budget. Now the blockage has created confusion and uncertainty among foreign energy companies, putting the whole energy sector in northern Iraq in jeopardy. The governments of Baghdad and Erbil signed a temporary agreement in April to restart northern oil exports through Baghdad's state oil firm Sumo. But Kurdish officials blame Baghdad for their economic problems. They say their economy has been struggling due to budget cuts.
We want to deliver up to 400,000 barrels per day to Baghdad, but Baghdad wants only 95,000 for now. The rest of our oil remains in the fields and can't be exported. Therefore, we receive way less than our share of the federal budget, and employees' salaries are delayed for months.
The issue was on the agenda of Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan during his recent visit to Iraq. Turkey says the Kirkuk-Ceyhan pipeline was damaged by the earthquakes in southeastern Turkey in February. The dispute is unresolved, with a second case over unauthorized oil flows still in arbitration. Turkish President Erdogan is expected to pay a historic visit to Iraq. Omar and many others in the Kurdish region hope this visit could bring an end to the stalemate. Mahmoud Abdul Wahid, Al Jazeera, Erbil, northern Iraq.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's SafeTV2 headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.